Chapter 19. Being a full account of the happenings in the dark sewers. Jimmy headed for the only safe place he knew, the sewers. He scrambled along the docks, and the prince dogged him every step of the way. Jimmy turned on him like a cornered rat. "Ain't you done enough? You got a price put on my head. Go home and go to blazes." "But you're my friend," the prince stated, as if he were issuing a royal decree. "Don't count on it," replied Jimmy. He started down stone steps to the river, but the prince stopped him with a sudden, urgent yelp. "Look!" Looming up on the cobbled wayside came the hulk of Hold-Your-Nose Billy, with Cutwater following as close as a cow's tail. Jimmy didn't wait to be spotted, but it was too late. The big outlaw, his hair and beard looking bonfire red under the bright sun, gave a distant yell and altered course. Jimmy and the prince took the stairs in leaps. The tide was coming in, and the mud flat had shrunk to the width of a path. Jimmy led the way through a tarred forest of wharf pilings and over a derelict river barge. He leaped off into shallow water. He could already see the great brick mouth of a main sewer. "Don't leave footprints in the mud," he warned. They splashed along the water's edge and were there. The arched sewer stood tall enough for a horse and rider. Jimmy leaped the mud and was in, but the prince balked. "It's black as night in there. Jump, quick!" The prince steeled himself and made the leap. Jimmy advanced into the tunnel, but the prince held back. "Follow me. We'll be lucky if they didn't catch sight of us." The prince stood terrified of the darkness ahead. He had turned dead white. Jimmy made a grab and yanked the prince after him. "You'll get me caught." I'm scared, Jimmy. Don't fret about the dark. There are rats in here. Even grown men are scared of them. Hang on to me." Deeper and deeper, darker and darker, they sloshed through the cavernous sewer. The gutters of the city overhead had dried, but old rain seeped and dripped from the glazed brick walls. Soon the mouth had receded to little more than a pinhole of light, and Jimmy stopped to catch his breath. "Blacker than a stack of black cats in here, ain't it? We should come to another passage before long. They'll never find us. Ease off my arm, you'll break it." Jimmy, hardly above a breath, the prince's voice was stiff with fear. "Jimmy, not Jimmy from the streets, not boy." The wonder of it, Jimmy thought, like we was old knockabout friends of the streets. "I wish I were like you," muttered the prince. Jimmy was amazed. "Like me? You're not afraid of anything." "Course I am. I'm afraid your pa'll hang me." "Not likely." Jimmy gave a small snort. "Not likely unless you give away my hiding place down here." "Do you think I'd do that, Jimmy?" "I don't know. Let's keep moving." As they edged along the wet walls, Jimmy gave his reply a second thought. He wronged the prince. This wasn't the same Prince Brat who'd run away the night before, bored with his own meanness and haughtiness and cruelty. "Reckon I do trust you," said Jimmy. And the prince replied, "I won't go back to the castle unless you go with me." God. The main sewer branched off, and Jimmy had to stop to get...
Shavers to your mother's room. No shavers.
The main sewer branched off, and Jimmy had to stop to get his bearings. Careful, he thought. That passage to the left leads to the brewery. You could get eaten alive. Keep to the right branch. In the hollowness of the sewer, there came a soft scurrying of feet, and then a distinct squeaking sound. The prince's fingers locked on Jimmy's arm like a manacle. "Nothing but a rat," Jimmy said. "Two of them, but nothing to worry about yet. Dark ain't so bad if you know what's in it. Like off to the left, so hang on to me." The prince's voice was almost inaudible. "What's to the left?" "A brewery overhead. They empty their used-up grain down the sewer, and the rats feed and breed by the hundreds, grow big as street cats and short-tempered. They'll swarm all over you and hang on by their teeth." Still clinging to the birdcage, Jimmy continued feeling his way along. He wondered how he'd ever felt at home in these dank, smelly sewers. Then a sudden flicker of light from a side passage stopped him. He peered down the tunnel and saw a figure with a candle fixed to the stiff bill of his cap. A rat catcher. He could see a cage full of squealing rats. He entered the passage, and the man looked up. "Who goes there?" Didn't mean to give you a scare, Jimmy whispered. This is no place for boys. The man's full voice boomed and echoed through the sewers, and Jimmy took a quick look behind. Hold it down, sir, he said softly, and then he thought he recognized the rat catcher. Ain't you old Johnny Tosher? With the candle glowing from his hat bill, the man bent forward. I declare, is that you, Jimmy? It is.
All fifth grade teachers, please go to Miss Hamby's room for a few minutes.